I'm here with the Police Eastern District Commander, Superintendent Jeanette Pike. You're a superintendent. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, kia ora, Andrew. Thank you.
Now, it's been quite a while since we last spoke, and I remember having an interview with you about just a couple of days after the Cyclone Gabrielle hit. What are your recollections of that time, when the cyclone struck Hawke Bay?
Yeah, I think I look back on it now, and it was that sort of feeling of it was unbelievable. You know, the devastation and what our people were fronted with or confronted with was. Yeah, hard to even imagine. And you look back now, and it's hard to even imagine that that actually happened the way it did.
Now, you also, your area is also Tairāwhiti as well. When was the first time you realized that it was actually going to be a very bad situation?
So in Tairāwhiti, the right through the weather reports, have been coming in, and when I remember in the early hours losing communications with, our district or across our district up into Tairāwhiti, and that was, of course, that was very concerning at that point.
Yeah, and when it sort of started getting bad in Hawke's Bay and that, when were you alerted and what did you start doing?
So I, in the early hours of the morning, the weather was coming in. You could certainly see it and feel it and hear it. And I came into the office in early on in the morning, and I had trouble getting to the office because the floodwaters were coming in and there was trees down and things like that. So it certainly became very apparent very quickly as soon as I came to the Hastings station, the pressure the area was under.
No, it was unprecedented, not only because of the scale of the event, but also because it knocked out communications and electricity. So your whole system is built on communication. I mean, you need to communicate with people out in the field and that. How did you get around that?
Yeah, so the certainly the isolation, our transport concerns, the communications, the networks, our radios. These days everybody relies on cell phones and our comm centres and things. So it was certainly difficult, and we can, fortunately for us, often we'll go back to where we need to paper-based. Ways in which to record things, but our people are incredibly resourceful, and when they were under pressure and they didn't have radios or cell phones, they used their local knowledge and their ability to know where things are, because our people here are, of course, they live in those communities too, so they know their local areas, which is fortunate.
What was the area of most concern for you over this period of time?
I mean, across our district, you have, concerns right across, especially when that lack of communication. Certainly here in Hawke's Bay, the devastation and the right through was, significant. So there was pressure in all locations, but certainly we saw a lot of the flooding and the damage here in Hawke's Bay.
Now, an event of this scale, it wouldn't be wrong to imagine that there could have been thousands dead. What do you attribute to the fact that there were so many lives that were saved and that there weren't more casualties and more fatalities?
I look, people are amazing how they, when there's something going on, the pressure comes on, people will, go out and put their own lives on the line to help others. And certainly, that local communities, people, they know where people live, that sort of thing, and they will automatically go out and help people. And also our people were incredible. They went out there, there was no communications and things, but they worked with members of the community, whether it was in boats or coordinating rescues. No matter, they are very resourceful, and our communities did everything they could to look after each other.
And it was quite a tough time because at one stage you had quite a list of people missing in that you were looking for. And how did you go about and I know you saw and that was involved in that as well. How did you go about sort of ticking people off that list?
Yes, you just had to work through it methodically, appealing to the public, making contact with people where we could. And of course, communications were tricky. So, you rely on things like there was Facebook messaging once the phones were back up and that sort of thing. So people, were really good at advising us when they knew somebody they couldn't locate them. And then we would go, there was door to door. It's good old back to basic policing, in order to try and locate people, which, having been in the police a long time now, the knocking on doors and trying to find people is often a way to do that.
Because overall, 11 people did die in this weather event, and that. What do you have to say to their families and that a year on from that?
Oh, look, my heart goes out to everyone. No one ever, when we're as a police officer, you never ever want to see life lost, and it was incredibly tragic. And I feel for them, I always have, and my heart goes out to people that lost loved ones and the devastation across our area.
Now, one person still missing is Joseph Ahuriri, but there has been developments there, and police are using drones and that to try and relocate. Are you confident that there could be a solution? He could be found?
Well, they're working through the investigation and continuing and determined to come to a conclusion. So, which is good. So so they will be continuing on with the investigation.
At the time, there was a lot of heightened emotions, and there was a feeling from communities, the devastated communities, that there was a lot of looting and that. How did you handle this? Because, obviously police were trying to do their best in that. How did you handle that situation?
Yes, look, I absolutely acknowledge at the time and still to this day, people's concerns and fears, when there was no power in the streets, when they couldn't, communicate with each other, and it's a terrible situation to be in. And we had our people out and about and visible. And then as we gained more staff coming through from other parts of the country, then we could, roll into things like the mobile bases, police bases, and, pop-up bases and things, or stations, I suppose you could say, and working also with, the community leaders.
Yeah.
And in those communities to see what it was or how in which we could help and assist.
Yeah. And also the Police Eagle helicopter was sent down as well. Do you think it was about that, giving that perception and that sort of perception of presence of police that helped people?
Absolutely. I mean, Eagle helicopter is a tremendous asset, and it was very good to have them down here working with our teams on the ground. And it certainly provides reassurance for our communities. And I think, communities looking out for each other as well, and reporting information through to us so we could respond to that was also really helpful.
No, I'm not sure if you're part of the reviews and the inquiries that are going on into the response, but how do you feel as a police force, did your team do?
Yes, certainly there's been, there's a lot of debriefs conducted. We do those within our own teams, and also, lessons learnt. And certainly we're continuing with our recovery phase of the cyclone. So we've still got, our rural officers out in the communities there working with the people on the ground there. So, we continue on with these because it's all about, there's always lessons to be learnt. And, it's things like looking at our communications and infrastructure and what we can do differently, and having things like Starlinks and generators and all that sort of thing that are available and ready to go. So there's ways in which to certainly improve on the cyclone and how we manage that.
Do you think that you've learned from this as well, and if the next event came along, you'll do things differently?
I think no matter, we're always learning. And even though I've been in the police, 32 years, every day, you're always learning things. And that's what's important, because we always need to look forward and look at what we can do differently, and is there something that can improve. And also, I think it's really important to hear from, our communities, because, they're on the ground. They, know what they need, and actually how do we work together in order for the best outcomes.
And how are you going to be commemorating the day?
So we'll be going to the civic service here in Hastings. And also we get together and look after each other and remember back, because we also had staff that a lot of our staff did incredible things. Well, they all did incredible things and worked extremely hard. So coming together, talking about the brave acts and the amazing things that they did. They just mucked in and got on, and we're very humble about it. But it'll be nice to share it also with the community events that are on. So we'll be out and about.
Yeah. And what were some of those brave, just briefly, what were some of those brave acts that your team did?
I think all our people did an incredible job, and I take my hat off to each and every one of them, whether it was behind the scenes or out rescuing people in floodwaters. And also some of our staff, they did, saving, if it wasn't saving each other, it was, and also saving, people, putting people up into trees or onto higher ground, or getting out in boats. They do, incredible things. And they, I just admire them. They're amazing people.
Because a lot of them had their own issues as well. Some of them, their own homes were flooded in that. So a lot of them went above and beyond the call of duty.
Yes, we had staff that, I know we can clearly recall one of our staff members, their family had to be rescued off a roof of their home. And so, you get situations like that, but they were out continuing to work and carried on working. And we had staff that lost their homes completely, and they carried on working because, that's they serve their communities, and it's really important to them. And they boxed on. It was unreal.
And what do you have to say about the resilience of the Hawke's Bay and Tairāwhiti community and the police members as well?
I think the Eastern District is a beautiful, incredible place, and I know that they are incredibly resilient. And this, we will build on and be the amazing place that we've always been. And our people, they show their determination, professionalism, and the empathy towards people. They care, they've carried on going out into communities and trying to help wherever they can. So, I'm immensely proud and of our people and of our communities. And I know that we'll always be a beautiful district and with fantastic people. So we're lucky.
Superintendent Park, thank you so much for your time. It's been good chatting to you, and all the best for the future.
Thank you, Andrew.